MDM4U 6.2 odds. So as an investigation, we're going to see what we already know about probability and odds. If you select an object randomly from the following set of items, what is the probability of selecting a triangle? So, you might recall from the definition, the probability of a triangle is the number of ways that we can get a triangle divided by the total number of ways we can get any object. So, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles, and if this is a 5 by 2 array, we can say that there are 10 total objects. Now, what are the odds in favor of selecting a triangle? If we have the probability as 4 out of 10 for selecting a triangle, what are the odds of selecting a triangle? So, if you can recall that this is the number of ways to select a triangle versus not select a triangle, then that is 4 to 6. Remember, if you think of the complement of 4, which is triangles, the opposite is not triangles. So therefore, our ratio is 4 to 6. 4 triangles to 6 objects that are not triangles. So let's look at our definitions. Odds in favor. The odds in favor of an event is given by the ratio of the probability that an event will occur to the probability that it will not occur. So odds in favor of A. And in this notation, it's expressed as a fraction, but it's not interpreted as a fraction if it's prefixed with odds in favor. I much prefer this notation where we use a colon to separate the probability of A compared to the probability of A complement. Remember that the complement of an event A is just the opposite of that happening, and that the probability of A plus the probability of A complement is equal to 1. It spans the sample space. So, that being said, odds against an event is given by the ratio of the probability that an event will not occur to the probability that it will occur. So odds against A, the probability of A complement divided by the probability of A. And another notation would be using the colon. The probability of A complement, because it's odds against A, and this is then compared to the probability in favor of A. So that being said, we'll look at this as an example in context. A classroom has 5 girls and 3 boys. What are the odds in favor of selecting a girl? So I'll give you a moment to answer this. Odds in favor of a girl would be the number of ways we can select a girl over the number of ways that we can select anything else. So in this case, it's probability. So we have to remember that's 5 out of 8 divided by the probability of not selecting a girl, which is 3 out of 8. If you're familiar with division of fractions, the rule is to invert and multiply the divisor. So if we have 3/8, we invert that to be 8/3, and we switch from division to multiplication. So multiplication of fractions across the numerator, across the denominator, we would have the 8 and the 8 cancel, because if you multiply by 8, then divide by 8, that's equal to 1. So 5/3, or 5 to 3, is the way to say this as a ratio, or 5 to 3. So what are the odds against selecting a girl? The odds against selecting a girl. So the probability of A complement. So not selecting a girl would be 3 out of 8, and the ways to select a girl is 5 out of 8. Using the invert and multiply technique for division of fractions, we can express this as multiplication, and again the 8's will cancel to get us 3 to 5. So we will need to convert between these two formats. Remember, we have different notations for different functions. If the odds in favor of an event A is h to k, then the probability of A is h over h plus k. So this is the total in a fraction or in the probability. So therefore, h is the outcome in favor, k is the outcomes not in favor. You can think of this as A and A complement, but let's try some examples. Probability to odds. Jim estimates that he has an 80% chance of passing a test. What are the odds in favor of passing the test? So odds in favor. 80% of the time he passes. So you can think of this as 80% success to 20% failure. This is the probability of passing. So this is probability, but odds would be 80% success, and this is the total. The complement of success is failure, which is 20. So therefore, the odds in favor are 80 to 20. That might be reduced, yes, to 4 to 1. Both are divisible by 20. Odds to probability. The odds in favor of the Raptors beating the Pistons is 3 to 2. What is the probability of the Raptors beating the Pistons? So, Raptors beating the Pistons. What is the probability? So 3 games goes to the Raptors, 2 games to the Pistons. So that would be 3 out of 5 games going towards the Raptors. 3 being the number of ways in which the Raptors win, and then adding them together to get the total, because when we're talking about probability, we need the total number of games, 3 plus 2. And 3 out of 5 is equal to 60% chance of winning for the Raptors. Good luck.